We got trouble again. We've got a tankless water heater. In fact, we have two of them. But one of them the other day sprung a leak. I'm not exactly sure when, and it was a small leak. But after further examination, it looked like the leak had been present for some time because there was calcium deposit at the bottom of the heating unit. So we contacted the company that installed it, and it was out of warranty. It's about a little over 2 years old. The company who manufactured it will support the parts, but they wouldn't replace the unit totally unless we paid a pretty big fee for it. But they would supply the parts without for not too much money, actually, although they wanted about a $160 deposit to ensure that I return the parts to them. So anyway, I decided to go that route. We're going to get the parts for their deposit, and then once we replace the parts, send it back to the company, and they'll refund us our deposit. So what I thought I'd do is make this video of how to fix a tankless water heater. And the first thing you have to know about that is to, when you troubleshoot it and everything, you've got to make sure the power is off. Now in my case, I've got a load center here in my garage that is the first circuit breaker, and then next to the water heater itself there's another set of breakers. So you're not going to get hurt doing this job if you kill the power to it. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't want to get hurt. So anyway, take a tight shot in here at my load center. And I've got two tankless water heaters. One over here is 2 circuits for it, and then 2 circuits for the one that we're going to work on. These are actually 4 breakers. They're marked as 60 amp breakers, and it takes 4 of them, believe it or not, to run this one. I think it's a 28 kW tankless water heater. It takes 4 circuits. They gang them up, and so it's 220 volt circuits. And so you want to make sure those things are turned off. And in the commercial business, I do some commercial work for some large companies, and they have a system they call lockout tagout. This particular load center doesn't have a way really to lock out and tag out these breakers, so I'm just going to mark them with some tape and close the door and put some tape on it so that nobody by mistake comes along and turns those things on while I don't want it on. So anyway, that's the load center in the garage. Make sure the power is off before you do any work on this tankless water heater, okay? Okay, well, here we are in the closet where the tankless water heater is. And the first thing we did, we threw the breakers in the garage in the load center. And this has 2 sub panels here in the closet. It's got, and they're marked circuit 1, 2, circuit 3, and 4. And of course we want to make sure they're all off. Okay, so that's handy. It's right here in front of our face. It's pretty obvious, and we're not going to be turning those on while we got these. We're working with this system. Okay. So now that it's powered off, we're going to have to disconnect a lot of these cables, a lot of these wires. So what I did was I went around to each one of them, each one of the wires, and I marked it. I either put in a wire marker tag like this. It's like a Ziploc tie, cable tie, but you can write a name on it as to what it is and then Ziploc it to the cable itself. Or I've got some of these wire markers, little pre-printed wire markers that you can take off here and then wrap around each one of the wires and give it a special number. So that's what I've done on all the wires on this box. Getting ready to disconnect the PC board that controls this whole thing. And once that's taken off, disconnected and taken off, then we can remove the tank. You can see up here it's plumbed. Here's our water input, or cold water input. Comes into the tankless water heater, heats up, and then goes out with this red line here as hot water. So the problem was it was leaking right here on this one chamber. It's leaking there, coming down here, and if you can see it, but it's left some calcium deposits here on the bottom of this case. So now that it's all marked, I'm going to disconnect the cables and pull the PC board. And that'll be the next step. Okay, here we are with the PC board removed. It was just 4 screws on the PC board and 4 screws for those high-powered, I think they're triacs, that you're supposed to use heatsink compound when you put them back on. So little white heatsink compound. There seems to be plenty of it on there, but you can get that stuff at Radio Shack. It's pretty common. It's just called heatsink compound. It's white, and you don't want to get on your clothes, but it's like a little white paste, like toothpaste kind of, but don't use toothpaste. Okay, so that's the tankless water heater with the PC board / brains high power controller removed. Okay, I got a couple of crescent wrenches, and we're going to disconnect the plumbing right now. So I've got a small crescent wrench for this bottom nut. Okay, and then a larger one for this top one, and we'll just loosen that up. A little union fitting here. Okay, like so. We'll do that on both sides. All right, and that'll free the plumbing from the tanks of the water heater. Okay, I've got the 2 lower screws of the tank taken off, so I'll just take off the top 2 screws. You can see we've got the unions disconnected up here for the cold water in and hot water out, and the 2 screws, and I'll be holding this tank in my hand, so let me give that a try. Alright. Okay. There we go. There we go.
There's water in there.
I got you. Okay, I got this thing in my hand now, and we're going to take it out and
Bucket.
put it on a bench.
There's a bucket. Got water.
Okay. Okay, this has 4 screws back here that's holding it in its case, so I have to remove that to get the sheet metal out from around the tank. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll zoom this in so you can get a little closer look at it. Okay. I think once we take these 4 screws out, see, it's got an eye, I guess they call it a keyhole slot. You loosen them and then you can just pick it up out of it. If it'll pick up, I'll just go ahead and take them out. Okay, now what else is holding this baby in here? Okay, all right. Well, I got a couple things hold me back. Here is a ground wire I forgot to take off, so I'm going to have to go ahead and do that. But you see this one ground wire right here I've got to take off, or I'd be holding the tank in my hand. So we'll do that and I'll get back to you. Okay, we got one wire to take off here. And this is one of those nylon lock nuts. So I got a wrench here and hold it with this, folks, and get this baby unscrewed. And that's holding the ground lug too, so remind me to put that back together. So I'm going to just keep it all together here right now. That way it won't get away from me. And okay, see, it's one of those nylon lock nuts, so they're great. Once you tighten them up, they never come loose by themselves, so they're fantastic. So here we are. We got this baby out of the case, and you can see the tanks here are in halves, are bolted together, and they've given us both tanks, but we've got to take these end caps off for the plumbing fittings. So that's our next job, is to unbolt it from the tanks and bolt these old side pieces onto the new tank. Okay, this should be fun. You know, when I called the factory about this water heater was leaking, and we were talking about prices and stuff, and we decided to just go ahead and send me the tank and that was leaking, and basically I would fix it from there. They did send me a few gaskets to go with it. They call this the chamber body assembly 4CH10K, and they sent it FedEx, which was nice, so they got to me pretty quick. It's from Seisco, Seisco International in Houston, Texas. They call it the global leader in tankless technology. Well, the way this thing broke, I'm not sure that I want to agree with that, but I'll hold judgment right now. It should never have cracked. It shouldn't have leaked. And to be first class, I think they should have just sent me a whole new assembly instead of the parts to fix it. But I can understand, so we'll give this a try. They did give me an option. I think I could buy a new one for $360 or something like that, or I could get the parts for free and hire a plumber or do it myself. So I decided to give it a shot, and if all else fails, I got a plumber in standby, so we'll see how it goes. This kind of could be a little interesting, but they basically, wants you to remove all the components from here and put it onto the new tank. And so that's what I'm going to try and do here. Okay? I might as well just let the tape run. I've got a long tape, so I'll just let it run, and I'll probably be fast forwarding this section, but at least let you guys see what's going on and how to do it, maybe in a fast forward fashion. There may be a few chuckles in between. So anyway, here it goes. We'll give this a try. Okay, with this big section right here, to put it around here, and they said in the instructions to remove all these and put them on here. So I'm going to try the big thing first. That's this side piece here. So let's see how that goes. There you go. Okay, you can see the little rubber O-rings here, right there, and I have those in my packet. So we'll replace those with new ones. And this has that silly wire connected to it, so let's take him off. Well, maybe we won't. Maybe we won't. Okay, back after it. I got me a 7/16 wrench, so I got tired of that. Not having the right wrench. Okay. All right. There we go. That takes care of that. Gonna see what's going on there. It's kind of wobbly. Okay, we're gonna set this baby right there. And get this baby over here. I can get after it a little bit better. Okay, like that. So now, this is going to go like so. I think I'm going to leave those where they are. All right. Okay, we've got the heater elements in here now. Here's another heater element. It's not in there too tight. Okay, well, here's the third element. This is the element from the chamber that was leaking. I cleaned up the O-ring as good as I could. And so here's the last one. Okay. Clean this baby out. Okay, now we'll tighten these babies up a little bit. Now they said there's some kind of a heater wrench, but they didn't give me that. So I'll try and put these in just good and snug. Not too tight. You're just mashing on a little rubber O-ring. Okay, I think that's about all that needs. I wouldn't put them in any tighter. Okay, there's that. Okay, there's that. Now the rest of this is just taking care of these little sensors and switches and stuff. These guys right here. So that'll be fun. They're all held in with O-rings. I don't see how this. Okay, we got just a little more to do. We got to take these screws off of here. These are what hold it to the sheet metal frame. Cheapy deepy sheet metal frame. Okay. And the mouse. Okay, so that takes care of that. We can send this back to Sarah with our regards. Next we'll put the sheet metal frame on here. This is where it was leaking right here. You can see the buildup, calcium buildup from the water dripping. Not a good thing. So, trying to get this baby back together.
Gosh. Can I help you?
Now you're on camera.
Oh.
Say hello.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay.
Well, here we are back in the closet. I remounted the tank on the wall, and refit the unions here at the top, and gently I opened up the drain to the sink. I opened up a couple of drain faucets. This actually goes to our master bathroom, so I opened up the shower and the two sinks we've got in there, and the hot water side, of course, and opened this up, and I gently cracked the inlet here. I could hear the water gurgle through there, and let it run for a little while, and then I could hear the air bubbles circulate through here, and then at the faucet end you could see the air bubbles spitting coming out the faucet and stuff. But after a while that slowed down, and I got good flow, and then opened up the valve a little more to get full pressure, and no leaks, which is a little amazing. But since there's so many fittings on here, and they're just little tiny rubber O-rings supporting these, holding these, sealing these sealed surfaces here, I'm really kind of surprised that they all held. Plus they didn't give me replacements for the heating coils, and the one that was leaking, that O-ring was all calciumed up, and the plumbers that came in that found the tank was bad, they put plumber's putty on there and gooped it up pretty good. So I took a little time and cleaned that up, cleaned it all off and everything, and I've got a real bright flashlight so I could shine on there and see any particles and stuff, so I got everything off and cleaned it. If I had a secret to success here, it was cleaning these surfaces before I reinstalled these different thermostats and limit switches and heaters. So that was the secret, I think. I'm going to let this thing run overnight. I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to drain the water out for overnight, but I'm going to let it stay pressurized for 24 hours. I'll check from time to time, see if there's any leaks down here in the pan. And if there's not, then tomorrow night I'll install the PC board and rehook up the line and give this thing a smoke test. And that'll be fun. So anyway, until tomorrow, see you then. Well, here we are, back in the closet. This time we have the control board. Okay, and basically it's just held in place by 4 screws with plastic washers on them, and this will screw into the water tank. And it's got these triacs here. It's got 4 of them. That's what switches the AC to the heating element. And so those mount to a copper pipe heatsink to keep them nice and cool. And there's some white, what they call a heatsink compound, that is readily available at Radio Shack or online. It's just called heatsink compound. It doesn't take much. In fact, when Seisco sent the parts, they put in a little baggie with a little dab of heatsink compound in it. It's not going to take much, but a little bit goes a long way. So it's going to screw in like so. I'm not going to be able to do that on camera, so I'm going to stop the camera right now, get it screwed into place, and we'll pick it up after that. Okay? Okay, so now we've got the PC board mounted to a water tank with 4 screws onto the water tank, and then 4 screws that hold down the triacs to the heatsink. So here's the 4 screws that hold down the PC board, right here, 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 and here. And then the triacs are sunk through just metal to metal contact, and this is a copper. Obviously, when water's running, it will be water cooled. Can't get much better than that, and they're just 4 screws for that. You just have to make sure they line up as close as possible, so you don't have to move these triacs too much, because they're just soldered to the board. And if the spacing became offset too much, and you tried to push the triac so you could get the screw in to mount it, it's possible it could come off the PC board. So you want to be careful with that. In fact, when I took this thing off originally, this particular mount came loose because there was a wire that needed to come off of it, and it was sliding up and down on this copper tube. So I thought wrongly that, well, the spacing between here and here and here and here would be the same as between here and here. Well, it's not. This bottom triac spacing is a little different, probably by maybe even as much as ½ an inch. So You might pay attention to when you take this off, maybe mark where those heat sinks are, and so you can get them back exactly in place, because the spacing does matter and the holes should line up as close as possible. So that's about the only trick. The board seems to be pretty solid. It doesn't appear to be very delicate, but you don't want to bang it around or drop it. Okay, and these screws are insulated on both sides. So there's a nylon washer right here at the head of the screw, and on the PC board side there's also another washer, and they fit nice and snug and they don't fall off. So it's a good match between the screw and the washer, so I do appreciate that. So anyway, the next thing is to put the wires back where we got them. And we should do that pretty easily because we marked them all real well. We just need to double check or triple check it. And then we'll be ready to smoke test it. So I'll come back once I get it cabled in and show you how that looks. And then we'll run live while we smoke test it. Okay, that'll be fun. Okay, there it is. It's all wired up. I turned on the breaker panel in the garage, the load center, and turned on the, I've got 4 breakers here. And then I took a meter and I measured between L1 and L2 of the 4 circuits to measure my voltage. I had about I think it was 240 according to my meter, 247, which seemed a little high, but I may check that out. In fact, let me double check that now with my meter. This is a great little meter. If you don't have one, get one. It's called a fluke. We laugh about it in the trade. We say if it's a fluke if it works. So, but I think it's a fluke if it doesn't work. So, I'm reading 240 on each one of my 247 on each one of my legs. That seems a little bit high to me, but we'll go with it. Then the alignment procedure on this thing, they have you remove a wire from the limit switch, which is right up here. Okay, right up there. You can see that. And so then it says securely place the end of the wire away from the circuit board. Do not let the wire touch the circuit board. Restore power to the Seisco at the circuit breaker panel, which it's kind of nice to have these disconnects here. After the beeping stops, find the blue button located on the circuit board approximately 2 inches below the blinking green and red status light. It's right here. I pushed it in with a Sharpie so I don't actually touching with my finger. And then push and hold the blue button for approximately 8 to 10 seconds and then release it. You should hear a short, low tone buzz, which we did. And then it says to turn the power off the Seisco at the circuit breaker panel, which is those 4 panels right there. Turn off the water at the faucet. Reconnect the brown wire to the limit switch. Restore power to the Seisco. You will hear 2 to 4 beeps when the Seisco powers up, which we did. Listen for the unit to click. This takes up to 45 seconds. I think it clicked in about 35 or so. And then turn on the hot water at the sink and test for water temperature, which we did, and guess what? We've got hot water in our sink and our shower. So it was a success. In retrospect, I think this water heater takes so much current. If we had an emergency and we had to go on generator power, I don't think I could get a generator enough just to get me hot water in the bathroom. So that's where people that have gas or just have an efficient standard water heater tank, as opposed to a tankless. It might be better in an emergency, but anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Hopefully we won't have to put up with any nonsense like that. So anyway, thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed this this little video. It's been fun making it. Thanks for watching. Bye.